This is a 2008 Fairline Targa 47GT, and I really like these. I'm going to take you on board and give you the full tour and explain to you exactly why. Now, in fact, I think what I'm going to do is start underneath, just for a change. Here we go. Because this, oh, it's a long way down, is a shaft drive boat, and that means that your drive systems are engines up in here, straight shafts, down P brackets and propellers, and then rudders behind, and that is dead simple. And it means these are really, as easy as any of these are, very easy to maintain, because you've only really got the engine to service. This kind of stuff doesn't generally need an awful lot doing to it. And having jumped down there, these are the exhausts, by the way, stern thruster on here. Having jumped down there, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to make it back up. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, that's elegant. Now, if you think you've seen this boat before, you may have done, because James at boats.co.uk, he's done a film of this one, so you'll be able to compare and contrast. But this is the Aquaholic Tour, and we're going to go into every area, including, as you've just seen, underneath. So we're going to step on here. There is a boarding ladder down underneath here. This is interesting. It takes you down to the systems, and we'll come back to that when we do the deck tour. But I'll show you the cockpit and the cabin first of all. Huge sun pad on the back of here. And what's nice about these is they're really easy to get ready to get going, because there's just a straight canopy that comes down, slopes down, clips onto these clips around the back, whip that off, there's a power roof, hit that button and away you go. And that makes these really quick and easy to head out on, and there's a lot to be said for that. Now, there's a fantastic cockpit area here, really big seating area around this table. The table folds, so if you're dining, you can put a couple of director's chairs around here, sit loads of people, all very comfortable. But if you're not, fold that away, and then of course it makes this whole area a lot more accessible. Now, over on this side, that incidentally is a little door, so you've got young kids, you can bring that across and close that off, so that's a useful feature. These are manual bilge pumps, they're backup pumps, so you have electric as well, but those are manual pumps if they're ever needed. The bar is out here, so there's a fridge, there's a bit of storage in there, and then this has the barbecue and the sink underneath. And that one there is just a bit more storage. And then up here, this is a great area, because when you're heading down the coast, you've got a double helm seat here, so that's really nice, but more people can sit around here and join you, and it gives a really nice area where you're under the shelter of the screen, where people can enjoy the ride under this great big powered roof. So it gives a real open boat feel when that's open. You can drop the side window down as well. In fact, there's another reason why this seat is here, and I'll show you that when we go into the inside, because it's quite a cunning bit of packaging. But we'll look at the helm first of all. These are lift bolsters, so if you want to stand at the helm, you can lift those up and lean against them. That's nice. And then the helm is here, so it's a tilt steering wheel. There's a lever there, so if you want to adjust that, if you're sat down to try, for example, then you can do that with it. If you're stood up, then you can tilt it the other way. There we go, and now you can stand here, it's all really comfortable. Throttles are here. Stern thruster control, we saw that, there's a bow thruster as well, makes it really manoeuvrable. VHF radio is back here. And then you've got your engine instrumentation all the way along here. These are, that was autopilot, I believe. Yep, there we go. And then that one will be speed and depth, I would imagine. Hey, look at that, you'd almost think I knew what I was talking about, wouldn't you? And then switch gear along here, and then there's a Raymarine hybrid touch plotter, and it's a radar as well. In fact, if we look up here, you'll be able to see on this one we've got the radar in the center, but also those two domes are satellite communication. So I think one is TV, if I remember rightly, and one is communications, although sometimes they just have a TV and the other one's just a blank, just so it matches. So I'm not sure exactly what this one's got, but it's certainly got the Sky TV. I saw it inside earlier. Horns are up there, and the navigation lights as well, of course. So let's head on down inside. I will show you the cabin, and yeah, then we'll work our way out. I like this soft touch black everywhere, so it's very low reflection on a sunny day. That's good. And then in here, this is just your classic sports cruiser layout. So if I come over this side first of all, then you can see how that works. Really lovely area. Tuck yourself away of an evening. That's very nice indeed. The tables, I'm sure you've worked out for yourself, that will unfold thusly. So if you're dining again, you can make it a bit larger. If you're just having drinks, you can leave it like that. This is all storage up in behind here. except for that one. Oh no, there we are. That opens like that. It's got central heating, and the controls for that are down here. There's twin units on this one, and then in behind here is the basic switch panel. So that's your main battery switches and your AC control panel as well. The generator is also controlled from here, but there's a more complex switch panel which I'll show you in the aft cabin, which gives you the individual switches. If we head over onto this side, then we've got the galley area. Big fridge freezer in this one, like so. Freezer compartment up the top, of course. Load more storage along the top here. There are blinds that drop down over these windows as well, so if you want those covered up of an evening, you can do. You've got your twin sinks. It's all electric cooking because it has the generator, so that runs from your shore power or from your generator. These two little fellows here, that's a dehumidifier and that's a heater. That's just for during the winter. In the summer, of course, you wouldn't have those on if the boat was in use because it's got central heating on it, but it just means when the boat's being left as it is at the minute, it just keeps it warm and dry in here. And then up ahead of this, there's a TV, so again, when you're sat here, you can watch a bit of telly of an evening if you want to, and that underneath is the AV equipment. Now, she is a 2008, which is why she's got a Sony radio CD and these nutty CD holders here. Look, you don't see those anymore, do you? With good reason, but there we are. That's that Sky satellite decoder thing that I mentioned. So that's what one of those dishes is no doubt hooked up to. So if we go from here, we can head forward into the owner's cabin. Now there's a centerline double bed in here. So really nice big area, plenty of floor space as well actually. That works well. And then you've got the steps up the side into the bed. They keep these fairly high because the hull, if you think about it, is a V at the front. And so the lower you get, the narrower it gets. So they bring this up fairly well, and then you've got a nice big bed. Over on this side then is a hanging locker, like so. Again, this is all storage tucked away up in behind here like this, all the way around, all the way down that side. The blinds again in here, and there is a hatch up above as well, and there are screens that put across that, so you can have that like a night screen to black it out, or you can have like a fly screen if you want to. And that of course opens for ventilation. And finally there are, what is, I should say, a drawer down underneath here, so that's useful. And then if we swing around again, this has its own ensuite, so that is in here. Very Fairline, very nicely finished. You've got the circular shower there that closes off, and then you've got the loo on that side and the sink over here, and again you've got bits of storage in here, like in behind the mirror. Very good. Now if we head on aft, I do like the light wood in here, by the way. I think that's really nice. It's bright, but it's not stark. I think that's a nice choice. And I also like the practical wooden flooring they've put in the galley area. That's a nice idea. If you drop an egg on that, it's not a complete disaster. Now I mentioned the curve of the seating up here in the cockpit. If we go back up here, you can see how that wraps around on that side, and there's a very good reason for that, as I mentioned, and that is because that's the headroom, so that as you go into this cabin, a couple of steps down, there you can actually see the curve of it up there. So that comes around here like this, and that's what gives you a ton of headroom as you come into here. So it means you've got a really nice area to come into, like a lobby area really, so you can stand, you can get changed, you've got a wardrobe over on this side, drawers down underneath that, and then there's a step down, and you've got the two beds in here. So that works really well. These mid cabins are often a bit cramped, but on this one, there's a ton of headroom. In fact, we've got a bag in here at the centre, which I think is canopies. If I put that up on the seat and step down here, even down here, I've got standing headroom, just about, but I've got it. And that in a sports cruiser under 50 feet of this era is pretty good. I'm going to show you because I mentioned it. That one there is all of the circuit breakers for all of the individual items. So you've got the 24 volt DC system here, so that's everything powered by the batteries, so it might be toilets, screen wash, water pump, cockpit, fridge, I mean everything. Wipers individually, the whole lot. And then up above, that is the two 30 volt systems, so that is things like battery charger, immersion heater, the griddle, the hob. So everything that's powered on the AC side is switched from here. You might notice that there's galley fridge here and there's also galley fridge down here. The reason for that is because the galley fridge is quite high draw, and it means that if you're running on batteries, it will power off the batteries, no problem at all. But as soon as you plug in the shore power or fire up the generator, it will automatically switch over to 240 volt to save your batteries. So it's a dual voltage supply, which is pretty nifty. There we go. Now there's one more thing to show you in here, and that is through this door, because this has got its own private ensuite. That's a really nice feature. Two couples out on this for a week or two, and you've got your complete separate facilities to use rather than having to share. So circular shower, it's a little bit smaller than the one in the owner's cabin, of course, but perfectly usable, and also perfectly good headroom again all the way through, and that again is because of that seat that's up above. Superb. Okay, close that back up, come back out of here, and I will show you around the decks. That's nice, isn't it? I think that's really good. Okay, I'm going to show you underneath here, just because somebody's going to say, what was under the floor of the galley, Nick? And the answer is just a bit more storage. It's just really using every space. There's like a dead void underneath there, so why not put some storage into it? And did I show you this? I can't remember. These are just little bits of storage in places like this. And that one is cutlery drawer. There we go. Let's go have a wander around the outside. Back up these steps. Put the old shoes back on. It's a nice big cockpit area, isn't it? Let's head out round this way. What's nice about these is they've got decent rails everywhere. So you've got a rail to hold onto here as you step up. This rail then starts almost immediately. But as you walk up here, instantly another rail there, and then instantly another rail there. It's a nice, safe boat to move around. Feels very reassuring. And then this is your foredeck area. So in the centre here, this is for some bed cushions, and you can see the tracks there that they slot into to hold them into place. So that's all the big sunbathing area. Cup holders moulded in at this end. That's the hatch over that forward cabin. There's another one of those over the saloon as well, so great for a bit of ventilation. Let's wander down to the front. We are at, as I think I mentioned, boats.co.uk, and this is their yard. They've got some good stuff here. We're doing quite a lot of filming today, hoping we'll do that Fairline over there, and we're going to do that little Fletcher in the corner, because I want to show you guys some nice starter boats. Anyway, back to this one. Focus, focus. That one is the electric anchor winch. The buttons for it are there. There's a switch at the helm as well, and then that is the anchor chain locker down in there. And the anchor then sits on the front, as you can see. On the bow, not on the front, come on. Let's use the right terminology. Cool, huh? Let's go and look at the motors. Very good. These are those nav lights, and these are the satellite domes. Okay, let's come right on back. Now, having said this is an access all areas tour, it is, except for there is a tender garage under here, big tender garage. This opens up, slide a tender in, and away you go, except for today, because I pushed the button and nothing happened. So it's either user error, or there's a little snag need sorting there. So I can't show you in there, unfortunately, but that is where a tender would live. I am going to show you around here, however, because this is interesting. This opens up. Oh, hello, they're firing, sir, they're firing. You can see he can get up onto the side again on that side as well. But this takes you down to the back of the engine space, and I'm going to show you the engine space separately to this. But it gets you into all the systems, and it gets you to the back of the engines. So things like the batteries, I think I'm right in saying, are under my feet in this big box here. These are exhaust systems. We've got more circuit breakers down along in places like this. There's the stop button for the side power, it's like an emergency stop for the stern thruster. Webasto heating systems, I said there were two of them, and there they are. You've got some of the electronics in here as well, as you can see. So a lot of the systems are in here, and you can get down and into them. That's the tender garage, and that is the back of the engines. we come down here, you can actually see the shafts that we saw on the outside of the boat running out down through on either side. Generator lives in here as well, so it is all pretty good edible. Very nice, but there's a better way to see those engines. So if we go back out through here, we can access them from the cockpit. There we go, let's pull that one back down. That's the shore power that you can see going in there, and the one next to it, I think I'm right in saying, it says closing it up, there we go, that's a hose connector. I think you can put a permanent freshwater feed into this one. Excellent. These are the little hooks the canopy goes on. And then if we come around here, engine access is down through here. So what we do with this one is just give this fella here a tug, up she goes, and that gets us to the engines. Now what we have in here are a pair of Volvo Penta D9 535 horsepower engines. There they are. And what's great is that tender gouge is back here, so you can get to them. Quite often with these sorts of boats, the tender gouge is over the engines and it makes them a little more challenging to get to. These you can get to really easily. You drop down that ladder and away you go. You're looking at, I think, about probably a bit over 30 knots with these engines. I'm going to guess 32, 33 knots, something like that. So cruising mid-20s, no problem at all, which would be brilliant. And then range on this sort of boat, you're looking typically about 250 miles, that sort of area. There you can see the fuel tanks there on the outside. And then that's back down the back. It's a pretty decent engine room, isn't it? Superb. Okay, let's drop that one back down. And I think we'll finish up on this lovely seat next to the helm, like so. And I will say huge thanks to boats.co.uk. I'll put a link for those guys in the description. They've got this fine ship for sale and they've organised this tour. And huge thanks as ever to you for watching. We'll catch you on another one of these very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.